Happy holidays, everyone, and welcome to episode 32 of the Bonehead Podcast, where we talk all things Blood Bowl. Welcome back. I'm Ben, and once again, I'm joined by Bloodtithe Ben.
Merry Christmas.
Hey, buddy, how you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you.
Good. Thanks very much for coming on the show again. So, what are we talking about on episode 32?
We're going to be talking about the Hangover Bowl for New Year, which is like a lucky dip Blood Bowl 7s. We'll be talking about our Design a Giant competition and the usual games, hobby, and star players.
Fantastic. Right. So, first things first, Blood Bowl news. Now, it's Christmas. You're sitting there on Christmas Day, hopefully painting, gluing, building all your presents that you've got. So the other companies are clearly taking December off as well, because from what I could see and from what you guys were telling me going on in the Blood Bowl community, there's really only a couple of things to talk about. So, Ben, have you seen the first point on our newsfeed today?
Yes, I have. It's the newest edition from Windsor Chog.
So Windsor Chog, who makes fantastic models, he's got a couple of things on the build at the moment, but the big one, and I think we're going to see a theme with this episode, is the Windsor Chog Giant. So this came around in like no time at all, like a few days. He
is next level with his painting, with his sculpting time. This is ridiculous.
It's prolific.
So quick.
Yeah. So Windsor Chog 3D designs models and then prints them and then casts them in really lovely quality resin.
Yeah.
Zizzles, the mighty, my ogre from the 7 Super Series, he is one of the best models I think the Windsor Chog does. But this guy has been sculpting a giant.
Yeah, my word, it's really, really good. I mean, considering the time he took to make it, it's just got a great pose for Blood Bowl. I mean, it's the personification of Bonehead. He's got a chain. He looks like a slave giant, which is perfect.
It does look exactly like a slave giant. So yeah, he's got a picture of it next to a human scale. So it's about 1, 2, 3 humans tall.
Yeah, it's about that. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So when it comes to model wise, you're probably looking at 4 inches, maybe a bit more.
Yeah, because he's got a picture of it holding it in person, doesn't he? He's
in his hand. It's taking up most of his hand and a bit more. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be a really, really great size. He's got one hand above his head, scratching his head, and like you said, Ben, he's got a chain. He's got bits of chainmail. He's got some little beer barrels strapped to his waist as well.
Yeah.
Bit of Blood Bowl armor. The face is superbly sculpted.
It really is. Yeah, it reminds me a lot of the Troggoths in a way.
Actually.
Sort of the big fat lower lip and the bulbous nose, yeah.
Yeah, big fat features. I think he actually looks like some of the giants from the BFG cartoon. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if you were too young to have seen the BFG.
No, not quite.
But yeah, he's got that kind of. It looks like a classic ogre. It looks like a great model. Now, there's no release date for this or anything like that, but I have been pestering him to let us know. So hopefully, when it gets closer to production time, which will be after Christmas, I'm hoping we can get our hands on it as quickly as we can. So hopefully we can do like a cheeky little video preview or something if we can get it as quickly as I want it anyway.
Yeah, I definitely think I'll be picking one up regardless. It would just always be useful. Even if you don't use that inducement, you could use it in Warhammer. You could use it anywhere.
Well, that's it. You can use it in any. It looks generic fantasy, and it's a giant. And you know what? You can't really go wrong with that.
Yeah.
So, multiple award-winning painter and friend of the podcast, Ian Warham Hannam, boom, got that done in one go.
That's impressive.
So he won the Windsor Chog Ogre for coming in last place at the Fobble Wobble Cup, didn't he?
Yep.
And he's been painting it up, and it's starting to look really fantastic. But even he's sort of said that this model is great as a painting, just as a model to paint. And this giant, I think, is going to fall within that realm as well of being like, well, you know what? Let's hypothesize. Let's say it's £30.
Yeah.
For £30, yeah, you're going to get a model that's just a great fun project that you can then use with every Blood Bowl team because of how the slave giants work, and or every fantasy game ever.
Absolutely. And it's like we've said loads of times in the podcast, it's a bit unique, you know?
It is
There's a lot of
unique.
options there. You could use the Ale Guzzler from Games Workshop, which
Yeah.
is a really good choice. So there are options out there, but it's just if you want something that's special, that's, you know, supporting this little guy, he's good.
And that is the problem though with Blood Bowl players and with giants is this guy will go with any team, but then there are other giants that go with your specific team. So while you can say one giant and I'm done, really you can have one giant for every team, which kind of ties into our next bit of news. So this is another giant. So it's all giants at the moment, which is really cool. I'm terribly sorry if I get this person's name wrong. Xavi Moreau, do you reckon?
Looks right to me.
Yeah,
I'll take the fall on that as well.
On the Blood Bowl community, sculpt some 3D Lizardman guys. I don't think they're out for release, but really well sculpted, and you can see he's got a printed copy as his actual profile picture. But the giant in Blood Bowl made his effect, but he is just a pink skin, and the Lizardman teams aren't happy. So I'm going to make you happy. So this guy has been sculpting a giant Lizardman giant.
Really cool. It's quite creepy. It makes me a little bit uncomfortable, but in a good way.
So it's got the head of a Parasaurolophus. So it's got that long toothbrush stuck on the top of its head on like this dinosaur horse face.
If you can picture that.
Yeah, I know. What way to describe a Parasaurolophus. But it's kind of hunched. It kind of looks like something from an Xbox game. It's got that halo effect with a proper dinosaur face. The sculpt is really, really cool as well. Now, I don't think it's quite as finished or as cleanly done as the Winston Chog one, but this could be a great addition to a Lizardman team.
Yeah, and I think it doesn't have to be. Like, when it scales like that, it looks kind of natural. You know, I've come from a 3D modeling background, and it's hard to get the really flat lines like that. So to get something really smooth, it's hard to do. So I can see where that's happened here, but I don't think it's bad in any way in the slightest. It looks really natural and it really works for this style of model.
Oh, absolutely. Like the quality of the sculpt there is phenomenal. We'll have to pester Moreau to find out exactly more, because you even attempted the Forge World Challenge, didn't you?
Yeah, I had to go. The Forge World Challenge wasn't quite enough for that, but maybe someday.
You had to sculpt a Space Marine vehicle, and it ended up being too much like a Space Marine vehicle.
Yeah, that was the feedback I received, but that's okay. That's okay. I could have done more with it in hindsight, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, clearly everybody else who's been sculpting Space Marine vehicles, I don't know. I'm pretty sure they could be described the exact same way.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, that's actually all we've got for miniatures news at the moment. But obviously, if you've pre-ordered the Chaos Dwarves, you should be receiving them around about now. You've probably got them to build and paint. But what you should be building and painting are ogres, which is exactly what I'm doing right now as we record the podcast. Got my 2 boxes of ogres, got the 2 spare to trade away with Rich. Got 1 billion Noblars, like literally 1 billion. I've how many? I built all 24 from the 2 boxes.
That's obscene. You're really going hard on that.
Man, I just want to be able to run an entire tiny person team. So I've been running the numbers. So you got let's say you save 3 slots for star players. Okay, so I'm thinking Brickfarth and Grotty, or Grack and Crumbleberry, the 2 for 1, and another probably giant. So that's the 3. So you need 13 Noblars, leaving 3 spaces, and then up to 7 additional Noblars for the Riotous Rookies inducement.
Of course.
So you need 20 Noblars. And in the box, you get 5 on each sprue. You get 5 proper Noblars, and then 1 sprawling on the ground. Going to use the sprawling on the ground one as tokens, giving me 20 Noblars, which is exactly what you need for a Noblar team in Giants. And then you know what? If for some peculiar reason I feel the need to not run Giants and actually go full Noblars, you've still got 24 to use.
Yeah, I like that they included that 6 Noblars in the sprue, because I've seen people do really cool things with that sprawling one.
Oh yeah, and I'm a bit gutted because I've seen people glue 2 Noblars together, because you can position them so one looks like they're on the shoulder of the other.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm gutted. I was like, oh no, I've built and based. Gosh, They are absolute doddle to build, but basing 24 little nobbers. This is like, you go to Blood Bowl and you're like, it's a skirmish game. Like, it's fantastic. It won't take that much effort. And then I'm looking at this and I'm like, I've got 6 ogres, a giant, and 24 guys on a 25mm base.
That's an army. That's a unit.
This is a Warhammer Fantasy battle army. This is fantastic. Clever, Games Workshop. Very clever.
Yeah. More models.
Well, you know what? I think we kind of wandered into hobby. So why don't we just keep on going? So, Ben, Blood Bowl, hobby, what have you been up to?
Well, I'm currently, like you said, you're working on the ogres. I'm currently painting Nurgle.
Ooh, what kind of Nurgle?
Blood Bowl Nurgle.
Ah, yes.
So, yeah, this is for which we will be talking about later. We can't just keep segueing. But we'll, it's for our mixed team. So, I'm running ogres and orcs. Ogres and orcs? Nurgle and orcs. And yeah, I mentioned it briefly on the last episode, I think, doing a sort of a rusty copper verdigris kind of look.
Oh yeah, how is that? You using pigments for that, or?
Yeah, a little bit of dry rust pigment. It's mainly you sort of do a base coat of typhus corrosion, slap on some greens and some of that lilac oxide, some really bright greens like, what is it? It's Gauss Blaster green, I think, edge paint.
Oh, that's the extreme green.
Yeah, so go really bright straight over typhus corrosion, and then dab most of it away with a towel. And then I just sort of stipple on browns and oranges and then a bit of rust, and then slather it all in an oil wash, which is it's like AK Interactive Streak and Grime. It's basically like an oil. It behaves a bit like an oil wash. And yeah, you just sort of coat it in that, and it comes out all grimy, and it looks good. I'll post some pictures on Facebook when they're done.
Yeah, check them up. Do you are you doing that just for the armor, or are you doing it like for the clothes as well? Or?
That's just for the armor. The skin's sort of a pale green. I'm going to try and keep it uniform with the orcs as well, just because it kind of works for green skin orcs and diseased humans. Try and make them match.
So kind of tie them all in.
Yeah, and then the cloth is red, like a dark red, corn red.
Of course, it's red.
It's got to be Christmas, green and red.
Oh, I see. Not because of Bloodtithe, Ben, and corn.
Well, no, that is the real reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've got far too many red things. Red factions.
I love that. You're like, because of Christmas, not because of corn. And there's going to be brass there as well, but again, that's because of Christmas.
It will be brass trim,
yeah. and skulls because Christmas.
That's a good idea.
Do you have a Christmas skull for your Christmas tree?
Oh no, that's a good idea.
We're gonna have to get you one. I've got that massive one left over from Tombstone tournament.
I bet Tiff loves that.
Where? Yeah, apparently that one's going in the outhouse. So where is it? I don't know what I've done with it actually. She's wonderful and wouldn't have binned it, but I'm sure that if I've hidden it away, she won't help me find it.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's for the Hangover Bowl. That's for your mixed team, and like you said, we will be talking about that very shortly. But yeah, I've built and undercoated my mixed sevens team. So I was impressed. I wasn't able to be there for the draw, but did Ian draw on my behalf, or did you?
Yeah, he drew both for me and for you.
Oh, fantastic. So I ended up with Skaven and Dark Elves, which I'm very happy with that combination, and I love those teams. So I've built my team, and I mean, I've added a load of ghost bits because of so you're going for like a rusty, salty sea theme. Yeah. My guys, the backstory is that there were 2 high-performing teams that were coming into the Christmas Bowl. They were pitted to win, but a goblin, not fixer, but a bookie, basically took loads of bets that they would win, and then paid for most of their team to get murdered.
Excellent.
Yeah, and which obviously upset the spirits of the murdered people, who are now helping the team form a combination team to take revenge by winning the Hangover Bowl. So they're aided by the spirits of their dead teammates. So I've taken a load of Age of Sigmar. What's the ghost faction called?
Nighthaunt.
That's it. Thank you very much. A bunch of Nighthaunt stuff, and I've positioned it either like with the ghosts flying around the players, or the players like running over the ghosts or flying through the air on the ghosts. And my favourite one is because I'm going to give leader to one of the linemen. I've got a I've got a dark elf corsair head, and because of the way the hair is swishing around on this model, I've managed to glue it so that it looks like this second ghost head is peeking out from behind the player and basically telling him what to do.
It really does look good. It looks exactly like that.
It's worked out really well. And really, it's just because when I painted my Tree Man team, I discovered that I love the ghost paint because it allows you to do the directional lighting really easily.
Yeah.
Which I'm a medium painter, so adding that just makes it look really cool without really an awful lot of effort. So I was like, oh, how can I work ghosts into this? I was like, oh, there's my story, and there's a load of ghost bits. So the idea is really that I'm just kind of trying to blunder my way into really easy painting. So yeah, I've built those. They're all brown. We've got 3-4 weeks till the Hangover Bowl day, so I'll probably got 3-4 weeks before I finish painting them.
Yeah,
because that's just how I roll.
Yeah, it'll be the Friday night before. And...
Well, yeah, it's on a Tuesday, so it'll be the Monday night. But yeah.
True. Yeah, that's a good point. About that. Let's not
no, let's get it right. But I'm working on my ogres because I'm trying to get everything ready for the next proper series, for the next proper season of 7 Super Series. So I'm going to be doing the secret teams, but also getting ready for for the next normal team series, and ogres will be one of the teams in that. So
just a sneak preview.
Now. Yeah, so I'm going to be running ogre hunter, 2 normal ogres, and at the moment I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Noblars. Well, I'm not sure that's going to be enough. I think number wise that gives me 10 players, so that should allow 3 Noblars to die and still have a lot of numbers.
Is that will Disposable be doing anything for this team, or is it like
no? I mean, well, let's talk about that real quick. So the disposable rule, it allows you to ignore 20,000 of your team value for each Noblar you've got on there, basically.
Yeah.
So that's for leagues, because the way that resurrection tournaments work is you don't have an inducement step normally, because they say buy your inducements at team creation.
Of course.
And as the inducement step happens, where you check your team value at the beginning of a game versus someone else's, and then at the inducement step, take inducements to, match the difference. Basically, in a resurrection format where you're building a list and that's your list, you don't really have that slot. So the NAF had the ruling of, in tournaments, they see it as, well, there's no inducement stuff. So what you're doing is you're buying 1 million or 1,100,000 or whatever the value is of gold's worth of stuff. And you're buying your inducements at that point as well, which means that the disposable skill doesn't really affect your team build.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's good to clear that up.
Yeah, I mean, the only arguments that are coming out is that actually, does it rob the ogres of their special thing? So halflings get the cheap halfling chef, goblins get cheap bribes, and they're like, well, ogres don't get cheap anythings.
But they do get technically it's an inducement for the extra snotlings, isn't it?
Well, the riotous rookies.
Yeah, so you could pay for that.
That's an interesting one, actually, because if you think about it, so riotous rookies, you pay 100 gold and you get 2d3 plus 1 Noblars, and that can take you over your maximum team. So really, you're paying the price of 5 Noblars to get somewhere between 3 and 7. So I like the idea of saving 100k and buying that, but it does mean that some games you're going to be down on Noblars and some games you're going to be up on Noblars. It's quite cool. I like they've got the money right on that one.
Yeah, that is true. Perfectly average.
It's clever. It's very cleverly done. Unfortunately for 7s, where you've got 600k, you can't afford that without running a 2 ogre billion Noblar build. Although now I've said it out loud, that does sound fun. That does sound fun, but
knowing 7 Super Series, they probably win it.
Oh well, apparently so, yeah. But no, the whole point of 7 Super Series is to showcase the teams and the skills and see how they operate in 7. So while an off-piece, different team build like that might be very fun to see, I think for a season it's better having a more rounded build. And saving a silly list like that for a challenge or just like a one-off or something, because it could be really great. Because let's think, you've got 2 ogres, that's 280. We'll say one's a runt punter. Let's round it up to 300. So you can take the 2 ogres, the riotous rookies, and then you're running about 390, and then you can take 10 noblars, which you can't obviously take 10 noblars. You can only take 9 because you can only have 11 players. So you can have 9 noblars, 2 ogres, and riotous rookies, which means you would be running with somewhere between 14 and 17 players.
That's pretty good.
14 and 19 players, something like that. Yes, it's could be entertaining, but that's only if you're going to run the rules of you can sneak extra players on if no one notices. Which Milton did try last season.
It's it's only cheating till you get caught, isn't it?
Well, that's exactly it. I think it's in the spirit of Blood Bowl. I think it should just be a rule.
Yeah.
So yeah,
you can use a bribe to go with it.
That's it. I've seen there's a couple of really cool things. So the River City Dungeon Bowl is a Dungeon Bowl Sevens tournament that takes place in America, and they basically have the rule of once you've got 7 players on a pitch, you can bring another one on, but on a 1 they get spotted and get sent off, which is quite cool. I like the rule that I don't know if we came up with on the podcast a while ago, which is you can try and bring a player onto the pitch at the beginning of any of your turns, but you've got to roll over its strength or the referee notices and that player gets sent off.
I think you did mention that on the podcast. Yeah, that's a great rule.
So 3+ you can sneak a goblin onto the pitch. 2+ you can sneak a nobbler onto the pitch. But if you're going to try and sneak an ogre or a minotaur onto the pitch, you need to roll a 6. I just think that's great fun. You're like, right, I'm going to start this turn. I'm going to try and bring the ogre on. Out of 6, he just sneaks on and the referee doesn't notice, and you can play the rest of that drive with with an extra ogre on the pitch.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
It's just, can you imagine that though? Can you imagine lining up in a league game and someone's like, yeah, I'm just going to, and they get away with it multiple times. Like you're playing orcs and just like, yeah, I'm going to sneak another orc on. Yeah, it's fine. Going to sneak another orc on. Yeah, it's fine. And I'm going to bring on a troll. And it's just awful. Like, I don't know. I think that's quite a fun idea.
Yeah, I'm a fan. As soon as you fail, you can't do it anymore. It's good.
Oh, I don't know. Or the player gets sent off. I mean, balance it out, and have that gamble element. Like, I'm going to try and bring him off, but actually, does he get sent to the sin bin? Does he get knocked out honorarily and he has to sneak himself back in? I don't know. It's quite a fun idea. We'll have to look into that. We'll have to play test some things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, been building those. Been building the Dark Elves. Haven't actually got any Blood Bowl in games wise recently because it's retail at Christmas is really busy and we've had a lot of stuff going on. So haven't really had the opportunity to play any games. No, you neither?
No, me neither. It's not been too long since recording the last episode, so
that's true.
That's true. And like you said, it's busy time of year. We've been hobbying instead.
And we missed club night this week because everyone was busy. So both the key holders, Ian, Hannum, as he's just had a little daughter called Freya.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. And also now while we're congratulating, we should congratulate Craig, who's also been on the podcast at least once. He's just had his little daughter as well, Mary. So congratulations to both those guys. But yeah, no, Ian, apparently because when you've got a newborn, you can't come to club night. Fine. Wasn't allowed to come. And James couldn't make it. He was our other key holder. The Dwarf Lord, James, couldn't make it. And I ended up getting stuck with family things. So I couldn't go either. So we had no one to open up the club. So we didn't have club night. And you and I were planning on getting a game in with Giants as well, weren't we?
Yeah, so we sadly didn't do that. But hey, next time.
Oh, absolutely next time. I'm very, very excited to see how they play. Talking of Giants. Oh, no, that's the second topic, isn't it? The first topic is
ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, it is indeed. So before we move on to our first topic, I did pop a little shout out on the internet to say, hey, it's the Christmas episode. Does anyone have any shout outs? And I've got a few just to read out. So Mardaroa, the wannabe painter from Twitter, actually talks to us quite a lot, which is really, really cool. Wants to say, happy holidays, everyone. During the next 2 weeks, he's going to try and paint a complete Blood Bowl team, continuing halflings or starting a new one. It's a large amount of time off for anyone, but for a procrastinator like me, it may not be enough. Madara, you can do it. If you're not going to do halflings, do the ogre team. It's really easy. Yeah, even I can do it. What else? We've got Steve Mayer, or Maha, I think it's Mayer. Shout out to the new league I'm in, which is the Nanuet New York Toy Whiz League. Steve's great and also said big shout out to the Bonehead podcast as well. So thank you very much, Steve.
It's awesome to see like people from other, across the pond.
Oh, it's awesome.
It's really cool.
There's some crazy Blood Bowl people out there. I mean, mentioned Jared before. He's the he's the guy who listens and just hates the idea of using rerolls. It's just pure players all the time. It's fantastic.
Cool.
It's pretty brutal. Oh God, can you imagine that? It's like Mega Sevens. Eric Charlie, shout out to Nuffle for all the double skulls this year, which I think is probably about right. Ian Triplo, shout out to all those who helped someone else get into or back into Blood Bowl this year. And that is a really great point, Ian. We've seen a lot of players this year come back to Blood Bowl or start picking up Blood Bowl or start people who are getting into the hobby. Now, whether it's in our league, through our tournaments, or through the podcast, we do get a lot of people asking, like, hey, I'm just starting out. Hey, I've just started this. Hey, I've just started listening to the podcast. Didn't know Blood Bowl was still being played. Like, it's fantastic to see all these great people getting back into a superb hobby. And I wanted to say a big shout out to all of you out there listening for being fantastic in the community and just helping grow this great game. And on a personal level, helping us grow at what we hope is a great podcast, because it's been lovely getting to know all of you, to talk absolute nonsense Blood Bowl ideas, and just, thank you all for being fantastic folk.
Yeah, thank you also. And, you guys on the podcast brought me into it, and so, it's a slippery slope.
It is a massively slippery slope. Just got two more to go through. Drew Creedy. So Drew comes to all of our tournaments, heck of a player. As is his son, Logan. And he said, if you could please put a shout out for Logan to get off his computer and give me a game of Blood Bowl, that would be great. So Logan, Logan, if you're listening, do play some Blood Bowl, because actually, to be fair, Logan's a jolly good player as well.
Oh yeah, he thrashed me in one of the tournaments.
Yeah, those two are a formidable team. So actually, maybe not. Maybe stay off Blood Bowl until after our next tournament.
Yeah.
Nicky James, perfect. Merry Christmas to all and a happy new year. Bloodbrush Studio, shout out to the Boneheads. Quality content on multiple formats and multiple Blood Bowl playstyles. Happy holidays and thanks for the hard work. Thank you very much, Blunt Brush. So yes, that's just wanted to say, happy holidays. Whatever you do over the holidays, whether it's Christmas, whether it's time off, whether it's not time off, just thanks for listening. Thanks for playing. Have a great time. For at least this morning, which I'm assuming you're listening Christmas morning while you're building things, you get to listen to us talk absolute nonsense for a little bit longer. So our first proper topic for the day is going to be talking about Hangover Bowl, which Ben did mention earlier is essentially Lucky Dip mixed Blood Bowl sevens. So, while we're joined by it's the brainchild of Bloodtithe, Ben. And while we've got him on the podcast, it makes a lot of sense to talk through his latest Blood Bowl venture. So, Ben, over to you, really, man. What is Hangover Bowl?
So it started off as just a crazy idea. A lot of these groups do the Secret Santa kind of thing. We thought it'd be fun to do at the club, but the trouble with Secret Santa is people don't adhere to spending limits. Some people get things they don't like, so they don't want. So I just thought, why not do like a little Lucky Dip thing? And I think it's probably your influence, which is like, what about mixed teams? I just feel like I didn't come up with it all by myself. But
no, I'm definitely putting this one on you.
Yeah, well, so the idea is just something a bit different. We all put in 20 quid, and with that we get a team and some prizes. It sort of funds that. And yeah, it's just a good time. Some little extras as well.
So the cool thing about this is that when you say you get a team, what you did was you arranged and you said, what I'll do is if everyone puts in, I'll get a team per person, and we'll split up the sprues and mix it up. So yeah. Yeah,
that's the sort of unique part of it. Is something it's not easy to try yourself or enforce a tournament for, because it's sort of making people buy two things, but doing it this way is quite a low investment way of doing it. So yeah, we got all the non-stunty Games Workshop teams, which I think there were 11 of, and at the time ogres weren't out yet. Well, they're a stunty team. Yeah,
they are. Yeah, it's a shame the ogres weren't out, because
they would have been good. Yeah. So yeah, we got all of them, and we did sort of, the idea was we'll do like a little raffle and we'll see what teams are in, thinking there'll only be about 5 or 6 people. So then you draw what teams will be included, and then you buy those teams, then you mix them all up. However, we had a lot of interest. We actually had 12 people. So we had
more teams than there were.
Basically. Yeah, exactly. So we're like, well, what do we do now? Because I was always going to be the mediator organising it, so I'd drop in if there were an odd number, or like stay out if there's an even. But with 12 people, we had a long discussion about this. We decided to include halflings.
Yeah.
And we had a few caveats that we said, well, if you draw half a halfling box to make up a mixed team, it's going to really suck, because 6 halflings is nowhere comparable to 2 Chaos Warriors and 4 Beastmen. So,
well, that's probably fair. Yeah.
Yeah, and it would be sort of disappointing if you were to draw that, and then you now have just halflings to paint, and you probably don't stand a big chance in the game, even with some skill packages. So we said, you know what, we've got a little bit of it, with a bit of the extra money from the buying teams at discount, we can get some tree men. And
so that was really the crux of it, wasn't it? It was like, right, what do we do? Do we double up a team? Because at that point it was, well, we can chuck in goblins, but then that's literally just goblin.
Yeah.
Or do we chuck in halflings? Well, there's some positionals, and maybe we give an extra skill or something to make it a bit more beneficial. Running a halfling team's not going to be super. And then I think you had a look around, didn't you? And you found those Erewhon treemen.
Yeah, which I've had my on for ages, because they're just so good for Blood Bowl.
They are, and they're sold out all over the place. But you managed to swing a box.
Yeah.
And then which I was very happy with, because it kind of swung. It swung. I think that swung the vote for you. I think that made you realize that actually this is quite a cool idea. And what was it that you decided?
So, how to use a tree man?
Well, yeah, basically.
Yeah. So the idea was they come in a pack of 3. If you are to draw a halfling sprue from the little raffle or little lucky dip we had, you would also get one of these halfling tree men included in it. So it kind of offsets that disappointment of getting halflings, because you actually get a freebie of a big guy.
It did genuinely change. I mean, I think most people were quite like, yeah, that's cool if I bid the halflings, then I'm not going to win. But at least
I was hoping I got halflings.
But as soon as the tree was out there, it was like, oh man, I really hope I get halflings, because I get a cool tree, and I just, I'm going to lose, but I get cool models, and it's really cool.
Yeah, so it really changed it up to make it something to look forward to rather than to dread picking.
And then we basically had a whole bunch of teams that everyone was quite excited to pull almost every combination of.
There was a lot of buzz around it, and we were all very keen. Yeah. But yeah, we had our team draw. So in theory, the way I planned this, I was going to wrap up all the sprues of different shapes and sizes, and I'd draw a little symbol on them to make sure. So I would know what was in each one, but I take the last 2, so there's no way I can influence that.
Which means that no one would get double of the same team.
Exactly, yeah. So you just choose 2 different symbols. But, because the teams all arrived at different times, it wasn't really feasible, so we just did it in Christmas cards.
Which was genius. So even though the teams weren't there ready to go, the players could go, oh, I drew dwarves and chaos. I can now start building my list, and I know exactly which models we got, because because you could start planning it, even if it was going to take a couple of extra days. You know what? Everyone's busy after club night anyway, so it wouldn't have been the end of the world.
Yeah. And it worked out really well. I mean, people didn't even draw the same symbol twice, so that worked out really, really well. Ian drew my teams. I got Nurgle and Orc, as I discussed before, and you got Dark Elf and Skaven,
which I am very happy with. I think when you chucked it in the group chat, I was like, really? Like for me? That's amazing.
Yeah, literally pops up.
Well, they're 2 of my most favourite teams, and actually we saw at least one mixed team running Chaos and Skaven, although that is also quite a good combination. Dark Elves and Skaven at Bonehead Bowl last year.
As I mentioned before, there was Logan who ran it, who thrashed me 5-1.
Exactly. So I'm gonna channel my inner Logan, hopefully with this team. But so really, all in all, it was a really clever little idea that for £20 each, you can buy in, and like you said, clubs sometimes do a cheeky Secret Santa. Sometimes the club goes in and gets something. But actually, we thought as a cool modelling opportunity, build a little sevens team. You get one sprue here, one sprue there. You build your team out of that, and it'll have a bit of a change up, and we'll have some games.
Try something really unique. We're all theory crafting builds, weren't we? Like, what's the best one going to be?
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
What's the most bashy? What's the most passy team?
Yeah, who don't we want to get which team?
Yeah, who's going to end up with the Wood Elf and Dwarf combo?
I'm not sure we got one in the end, did we?
No, so we had Undead and Wood Elf. We had Dwarf and Dark Elf, I think.
Oh,
yeah.
And we got Sam. Yeah, there are some cool. Yeah, there are some good combinations out there. So before we move on to talk through who pulled what were the build rules, Ben?
So the build rules were 600k. So that means that for sevens that's pretty standard. Each team has to have at least 3 players from each race. So you've got a sprue from each. So you've got 6 players in most cases. Undead have 7 of each race, and you have to include at least 3 of them from each. There's a maximum of 4 positionals, so you can't have you can't just make a sevens roster of all positionals. I think that's another standard sevens rule. Is that right?
That is. Yeah.
I've done the caveat where you may not convert or include players from the roster that's not included on the sprue. So if you draw Dark Elf, you can't have a assassin, for instance. That's just to keep it fair.
I like that. I think that's good as well.
Yeah, it just means that this is just a little fun short-term hobby, and it was so random. I didn't want to include advantages for having things like you can't include like an ogre on a human team and stuff like that.
Yeah, it basically keeps it as here's your sprue. You can build this. These you can use any of the players that are on your 2 sprues. With the build restrictions, and you can't use other stuff. So basically, it makes it as equally unequal across the board.
Yeah, I'm fully open to you can use different miniatures as long as they represent the same models that you would have had on the sprue. It's totally fine for that. So yeah, we're not limiting it to Games Workshop models. It's just the Games Workshop sprues shows you your player pool.
Yeah, and there's no expectation there for you to then go. So this is the main reason you didn't want to include halflings and goblins at the beginning, wasn't it? Because you're like, you can run a goblin, but then you have to go and find a troll, which is normally great fun. But when you're doing a little mini hobby challenge over Christmas, it's kind of like, oh yeah, here I got goblins. Now I need to go and spend £20 finding a troll and hoping it gets here in the next week.
Yeah, we really wanted to avoid that. So having these tree men where it's like 12 quid for 3, it's pretty good.
Awesome. Really good.
So I think that's really the main restrictions on it. Obviously, there's no duplicates because on the sprue there is no, as in, but some of them do, like Nurgle Warriors. But like Human Blitzers, you can only have 1. So that limits a lot of the build options.
Because there's only 1 on the sprue.
Exactly.
And I really love the minimum 3 player because what is it for Bonehead Bowl? So Bonehead Bowl was our mixed teams tournament. We've got the next one coming up in May this year, so really good. But yeah, there's a player restriction there as well, which is you need to have at least 4 players from both of your teams. So you can't just go, I'm a dwarf halfling team with 1 halfling. No. You need to take at least 4 players from that roster, and this way you kind of force that little modelling opportunity of you're actually running a mixed team here.
Exactly, it looks better. It's just fairer.
And to be a massive proponent of the game outside of the game, from a list building point of view, you know what they say, restriction breeds creativity. And that means that it affects your builds, and you have to theory craft and do some math hammer and try and figure out what the best build you can build is and what you fancy. Or you can literally just, chuck as many players on as you can afford.
Yeah, we really got into that, didn't we, beforehand? Just always the best. I really enjoyed that little crunchy build up.
Oh, it's so good. That's one of my favourite parts of tournaments and things like that, is trying to, not min-max, but like the different opportunities. And I toed and froed on mine for several times before I figured out the build I was going to go with. I'm still not entirely set, so I built both the players I was toying between, which is so I'm just going to paint them and then choose on the day. So we've gone through the build rules, and what we're going to do now is we're just going to quickly talk through who got what. So as Ben's already said, he got Nurgle and Orc.
Yeah, it's quite bashy. I'm running 2 warriors, a black orc, and a blitzer as my positionals.
Oh wow! So three strength 4 guys,
Yeah,
one with the integral block. Okay, that is pretty tasty.
yeah.
I
I
got
think I've filled it up with 2 linemen, and I think I'm 2 orc linemen and 3 Nurgle rotters. So I've got quite a lot of players.
well. This is the really cool thing about this mix, and well, the great thing about this little mini challenge is that each team kind of has its pros and cons. So the Nurgle, yeah, they don't have a lot of skill. They've got the strength on there, but you got cheap linemen, so you can afford to get those positionals in because you can, right, actually, I'll take a couple of rotters and essentially I'm saving myself 20k for other positionals.
Exactly. And we've got a few prizes for most casualties and things. And for this tournament, just this tournament, I've been deciding to say that fouls count as casualties.
I like that. I think we're kind of seeing a trend towards that with a lot of tournaments, actually.
Oh, are we? Is it
Yeah,
coming?
yeah. I think it's just a bit easier to contemplate. I mean, we saw it with our league where we've gone through team casualties, including anybody who gets casualtied by you. So whether it's a crowd surf, a foul, or a chainsaw, what we're allowing the team to take the credit for the casualty.
Yeah.
When it comes to tournaments, I think a lot are moving towards that as well because it's simpler and it's just a little bit more fun.
It's a rule in the game, fouling. It's rewarded.
Should
It's
be
just
encouraged.
another way to inflict casualties.
Yeah. So you got the Nurgle and Orc. I got the
Yep.
Dark Elf and Scave, and I'll talk about my build in a bit. Ian Warhannam Hannam got Human and Nurgle, which is cool.
Yep.
Milton got Human and Lizards. Sam got Chaos and Wood Elf, which is
That one is. I'm watching out for that.
is going to be damn punchy. Lewis got Pro Elves and Halflings, so he was our first Tree Warrior. So
Yep.
so that's quite cool build. Elves and Tree Men and Halflings, pretty fun. Alex, he got Undead and Wood Elf, which again is another really good little mix.
Yeah.
Simon got Lizards and Elves, again, great. Nathan running Dwarves and Halflings, so our other treemen. So Dwarves, Halfling, Trees, going to be a slow team, but not going to be short of armor and strength, which should compensate. Basically, you're going to have Halflings scoring all the touchdowns and Dwarves just defending, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
Right. Ben G2 or Ben 3 got Dark Elf and Dwarf, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, another one. I think all the ones with elves and dwarf combo is the real scary.
This one is also very scary. Dan picked and he got Chaos and Skaven.
Yeah. Another great choice.
Yeah, another great combo. And Will got Orc and Undead, which I'm thinking is also great. So the really funny thing is you're looking at all these lists and basically every single one of these is exciting. I think.
They all look good.
So Orc and Undead, you're like, oh, that's going to be punchy. Chaos and Skaven, you're thinking, ooh, that could be cool. You've got a lot of muscle, you've got a lot of speed. Dark Elf, Skaven, yeah, love it. Chaos and Wood Elf, yeah, punch, speed. The ones with the Halflings though, we've actually had some good pulls. Elves and Dwarves will, they're both tier 1. Well, actually, one's tier 1, one's tier 2, but you can't go wrong with Elves. There's enough balance there to make it a really interesting individual team. So all of these teams are different. There is no duplicate team. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different mixed teams that we've got now out of this challenge. And I mean, there's so much variety there. I have no idea what's going to do really, really well.
No, me neither. I've no idea who's going to win. Could be anything.
So the cool thing about this, and I know we were talking through the build a minute ago, but the way you've tiered the skills as well is kind of honestly it's kind of a mix between how we ran sevens Sewer Bowl sevens last year and Bonehead Bowl basically, which is you get a leader skill to give to anybody. It's just leader, whether it's a double or a regular. That guy gets leader. Okay.
Yeah.
Then for each team, depending on their tier, you get a normal or a double. So tier 1 teams get a normal and tier 2 teams get a double. That's tier 2 or 3 now because we've got halflings in there as well. So which is really, really cool. And then just one regular skill anyway. So every team gets a leader and a normal skill. And then depending on the tier of teams in there, you'll get an extra 2 skills that are either normal, double, double. So you end up with a kind of semi-balance of those teams that drew the tier 2 get the opportunity to use a double. Now, they're not restricted between the players at all, are they, Ben?
No, so if you have a Wood Elf and a Chaos team gives you the double, but you can stick it on the Wood Elf positionals.
Or you can chuck all those skills on all your Chaos players, assuming you've got 4 Chaos players to chuck on, which I like, because actually it is 7s. One skill adds a bit of character to the player, but does not make them absolutely crazy.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
So if you do want to take that double on a Chaos Warrior and give him Claw, that's fantastic, but he doesn't have block, so you're taking a gamble.
Yeah, and interestingly, I think we only had 2 teams with 2 tier 2s.
What have we got? We've got Human and Nurgle from Ian, which is normal double leader. And Elves and Halflings from Lewis. Normal double leader Tree Man.
Yeah, that's why I'm really quite scared of those, because Elves are already pretty good in 7s. I think if you had a 7s rank, I think Pro Elves might be tier 1.
I think Pro Elves should be tier 1.
Yeah.
Especially in 7s, like you say. But yeah, so he's got a couple of doubles, but then for Elves, they don't need the doubles.
No, they don't.
So, leader, he'll chuck on an elf probably. You got a double where and that's it. If he's going to run the tree, does he use a regular to give it break tackle to save the mobility, or does he take the double on the tree and take block?
Yeah, which is probably a good shout.
I don't know. All I know is that when the Halflings were being run in 7 Super Series, they ended up with block and break tackle, and that was a fantastic combination. They started off with block, and it was just basically spent most of the time either punching their way through things or trying to sprint around, blitz things. So I would be, I think, all right, double for the block on the Tree Man, I reckon, Lewis, if you're listening.
Yeah, go for it.
And for the love of goodness, for the love of Nuffle, take the Tree Man. It's such a great model, it's a great positional, and it does surprisingly well in 7s.
Yeah, again, the movement isn't like movement 4 and 5 isn't nearly as bad in 7s.
Well, no, exactly. But you know what? I've not actually seen dwarves played in 7s. So this will be the first time we kind of see this. And a dwarf halfling team, and a dwarf dark elf team. It'll be interesting to see how they work out. I think they're going to play like weak black orcs,
Yeah, I think so too. I think they're not going to be nearly the threat that they are.
No, which I kind of really like. I do. I think it's going to be quite a fun thing. So those are the builds, those are the skills, and those are the teams. So what is next, Ben?
That's a good point. What is next? Talk about some builds?
Oh no, what's next is what do we do with the teams next?
So so on the second week back of January, this is where the sort of Hangover Bowl theme comes from. It's been New Year's, everyone's had a few drinks, everything's a little bit scrambled, like your teams, and we're just there to just have a laugh. It's no drinks involved because we are a decent club. But it's just I think Ian came up with the name, probably Ian, wasn't it?
Yeah. And the way it kind of fits into our local league is it's basically the Christmas Bowl, which was our minored league, so for new teams, is over.
Yeah.
And now the teams that are left, or at least the remnants of the teams that are left, especially if you're listening to the fluff behind my team, get together with the remains of the other teams, and they play a little mini 7s league to try and get themselves jobs in the major league, which is about to kick off for Wobble. That fits in nicely with our kind of league story. Not that there is much of one, but that's probably the closest thing we've had so far. But yes, so having the hangover of the Christmas Bowl makes a lot of sense. And I think Ian did name that. So
we've just got a little one day. Well, it's not even a one day, is it? It's one evening 7s tournament.
One evening, 3 games.
Yeah, 3 hours back to back.
Which we've done now twice at the first Tuesday of the month, when we're going to do Touchdown Tuesdays, which is just this little 7s night that we run in a different place because we don't have our regular place on the first Tuesday of every month. And 3 games of 7s in an evening is absolutely fine. So even with some mixed teams and some extra skills, because we do have 3.5-4 hours to play it, shouldn't be a problem at all.
No, I'm really looking forward to it. It's definitely doable. I know there's a few people new to sevens, but it's just Blood Bowl with less players.
Well, that's it. After you played 3 games, you're not new to sevens anymore. So,
Exactly.
I heard that we have some prizes.
Yeah, we've got. I don't think I've properly announced the first and second place prizes. I can't remember if I have. Might have done.
Ooh, am I spoiling things here for you now?
No. I can announce it. Here's a good place on that Christmas Day. Yeah. So first place, it's nothing too major. We've got I've done some engraved. What's the word? Sort of alcoholic containers. So the first place is a big old beer stein engraved with first place Hangover Bowl, and there'll be a 20 quid voucher to Darksphere, which is where I got the from.
Wow! I mean, I knew you got the stuff engraved. I didn't realise you had the.
No, we've got some hobby prizes. People can make back their team cost if they win.
That's the ultimate dream, going infinite.
Yeah, not happy with your draw, just win the day and you didn't cost
Buy another one. Buy an ogre team. Yeah.
Yeah. Second place will get 10, and a little whiskey tumbler with second place on. Third place also gets a little whiskey tumbler, but there's no prize for third place, just glory, minor glory.
I don't know, an engraved whiskey tumbler is a very cool little prize.
Yeah, they are quite cute. I'm quite happy with how they came out.
Over the moon when I saw you, when you spoiled those pictures into the group, I thought that was great. That's such a great idea.
It's quite an inexpensive way if you're doing it for a tournament as well. If you get cups, it's actually quite cheap.
Yeah, and it was very thematic to go with the Hangover Bowl.
Exactly, and so I've changed the spot prizes. Well, they're not really spot prizes. There's things like chocolate armor and most casualties, things like that. They're shot prizes, so you get a little shot glass. That's great.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, so you can celebrate your chocolate armor with some shots.
No, that's really, really cool. And what are you planning on doing with the last Tree Man?
The last Tree Man will be the best team award. So, as we said, they come in a pack of 3. 2 go away to the halfling players, and the third one we'll do an anonymous vote for favourite team in terms of fluff, painting, just whichever one you find the most appealing.
So this is it. Now we've got Ian in this competition, and Ian, along with some of the other players, are some very, very good hobbyists. But yes. I'm going for best team. That's what I want. That's my goal.
Yeah, I mean it's looking good.
Well, I glue some stuff together, and I just know, it's cool. It's such a good little thing. So yeah. So Ben, just to wrap up on all the work you've done when it comes to Hangover Bowl, you've managed to create a mini tournament with individual unique prizes and 12 individual teams, mixed teams. You've got 12 of our local players, basically living the Bonehead dream.
Yeah, well, you set the bar high with all the tournaments last year, so
we got
yeah.
We've got Bonehead Bowl, which is mixed teams. You've got Sewer Bowl 7, which is sevens. We love sevens. We love mixed teams, and you have managed to combine both of these together, organise it, and trick 12 of us into taking part.
That's the bit I don't get. Is why on earth are 12 people interested in a crazy idea?
Honestly, man, because £20 to get a unique little painting challenge over Christmas, and you know what? Even if half the guys don't build them, what it's done is it's create a cooler environment. You've got some lists to build, and let's face it, most gamers love the idea of brewing lists. So even with that limited pool of players, there's a lot of different choices. I mean, let's talk through yours. So you're running humans. You're running humans and Nurgle, yeah?
Orcs and Nurgle.
Oh, Orcs and Nurgle. That's Ian who's running human and Nurgle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so you had your fluff behind yours. I got some behind mine. So I've got the salty knobs. They're called. They're it's basically the idea is it's an orc pirate ship that had some human slaves from a ship they raided. They crashed. They beached. They were stranded. It was pretty deserted, like coastland. They didn't really have anything to do to pass the time, so they just kicked a ball around, got into Blood Bowl. The humans, meanwhile, who've forgotten about in the ship, they crashed. The orcs don't care. They were pretty much praying to any god to save them. Eventually, Nurgle gave them the gift of life, and they emerged. And instead of fighting, which would have been silly because it would have just been them stranded on the island, they just joined in the fun. So kicked the ball around, and they formed a little team. So yeah, that's the salty knob. So I've got the leader is the Black Orc. He's a Captain Bad Rum.
That's a great idea. Having a strength 4, armor 9 guy, keep your leader reroll safe.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick it on him. I'm debating. I might put it on the just one of the Orc linemen though, because they're usually less of a threat.
Well, yeah, I suppose less chance of them getting right in the thick of it.
Yeah, so I think he'll be the leader in spirit, but the actual leader reroll might go on a line. Yeah, I've got block on that fella. The blitzer, the first mate, he will have dodge probably. Can't go wrong with blodge. Using the double. I get
Yeah, use your double. Yeah, no, the blodging a blodging orc blitzer is a great thing.
Yeah, so that's one normal, one double. I think I've got another normal that we get for free.
You do indeed.
I've given kick to one of the Orc linemen.
Oh, kick is fantastic in
That is a general skill, isn't it?
It is indeed. Yeah, don't worry.
Good.
Yeah, that's a regular. That's a single for your team.
Yeah, and that's the build. And I've got 3 rotters just to foul. It's pretty much their job.
That's it. I mean, you're filling out the roster with the cheap guys. They're the remainers of the crew. You know, it's very, very cool. It's a great little thing. And you know what? The greatest thing about that is it unlocks that little bit of a painting challenge for you, which is I got this mini team. I can try these new techniques, tie them all together. And when I'm done, I've got this cool little thing that doesn't take up a lot of space. And actually, I got to enjoy finishing or at least experimenting with a purpose.
That's exactly it. I'm debating doing an army in this scheme at some point in the future, so it's a nice way to see if it's doable across a few models.
Yeah, no, I think that's brilliant. So my Dark Elf Skaven team, which I was, like I said, very pleased to be picking up, I'm going to be running a Dark Elf Blitzer, 2 Dark Elf linemen, Skaven Blitzer, a Gutter Runner, 2 Skaven linemen. And this was my real difficult choice, was for that last positional, do I run a Dark Elf runner or a Skaven thrower?
I think the runner.
Well, yeah, I've gone with the runner in the end, but it was really close for quite a while. There's only 10k difference in it. I could afford either way. Basically, it was, do I take the Skaven guy who's got sure hands and pass, but he's edge 3, or do I take the runner who's got none of those skills, but edge 4? And what I've done is I've taken the runner. I've given the Dark Elf Blitzer dodge, because you know what, a blodging Dark Elf Blitzer is a mighty thing. I've given dodge to the runner as well, because actually I'll come back to that. Leader on a Dark Elf lineman because they've got better armor than Skaven, and I've got kick on a Skaven lineman as well.
Oh, I'm glad you went for kick. Kick is a very good skill in 7.
Well, I'm hoping that I can kick it, get it close, get that gutter runner in there. I've got some good edge, I've got some good strikers, I've got some good dodge. But yeah, the Dark Elf runner, the thing that swung it for me, and I was talking to Rick, who's been on the show a couple of times, about this. I was like, Rick, I don't know what to do. Like, what do I do? He said, well, imagine the situation where you're, trundling down the pitch at pace, going for the touchdown, and they manage to get a cheeky blitz on your runner, and he dumps off to a gutter runner. I was like, oh, okay, Rick, I'm on board with this.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'll give him dodge because actually it gets him out of trouble. And if they do make that blitz on him, he can make that quick throw, and he's got less chance of actually being pasted to the ground that way round. And you know what? With a bunch of edge 4, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 edge 4 players, and 1, 2, 3 of them have dodge. So if that runner does get hit, I can probably afford to spread the field, because they're all fast enough. They're all dodging away on a 2+ with a reroll. I can probably just go around.
Yeah, that's like the thing with debating between the two. The sort of ended up in my head when you asked about it as well. Is the Dark Elf can pick up the ball, throw the ball, just ever so slightly worse than the thrower, but the thrower can't dodge nearly as well or dump off.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Same movement, but actually the general maneuverability. And I reckon dump off is going to come in handy because I don't know if I'm going to be able to defend. I reckon there will be at least one time where that does pay off. And I just don't think you'll be able to stop them scoring.
No, I agree.
But the problem is, will I have anyone left afterwards?
True. If I do get matched up against you, I will be
it's going to be
gutter runner.
Absolutely horrific. Yeah, but that's okay. I've still got a blodging blitzer. I've got a dodge runner. It should be good. I've got a lot of movement. So it's cool. It's a really unique challenge. Like, here's these two teams, build something mighty. And I've given it a go. So I'm very much looking forward to playing out these games. Is there any team on there, Ben, that you're thinking I would really rather not get paired up against that one?
Honestly, and he's a great player. Dark Elf Dwarf.
Oh,
Ben 3.
yeah.
That will probably give me a hard time. He can withstand my bash and just dance around my players. So
that's it. I think it's going to be an interesting one. That one. I think the key will be to take out the Dark Elves. The Dark Elves are on rate. Like the dwarves are expensive, so he's probably going to only end up with a 7-player build. But they're all going to have armor 8 or 9.
Yep.
So yeah, that's going to be a tough team to beat. And which is the other one that I saw and thought, oh, that'll be fun. You know what? There's loads of them that are going to be a very interesting challenge. But Sam, our Tombstone tournament champion, and he came second in Fubble Wobble with Chaos and Wood Elf.
Yeah, he's going to pipe that team to a good place, I think.
Well, not only are we talking, knowing Sam, I reckon he's going to run both the Warriors for that strength 4.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah. But the Beastmen, so who are going to be the linemen, they're going to be blitzing at strength 4. So it's going to be, I don't know if he's going to be able to fit the War Dancer into the build,
Really? I feel like it's blasphemy to take a Wood Elf team without a War Dancer, right?
I just don't know if he's going to be able to afford it.
He is expensive. What is he, 120?
120. The Warriors are 100, so it's going to be a tight build.
Yeah.
It's going to be tight. So that'll be interesting to see how that one runs out. So yes, there are some very cool teams. We're going to be running a 3-round evening. You know what? Even if 4 players can't make it, but still 8 players playing 7s. 3 games of 7s with all these individual teams. Some great little prizes, Ben. You've done a superb job organising that. Thank you so much. Because I think it's so unique, and I hope we do the same thing next year. And
I hope so too. I think maybe Hangover Bowl could be a recurring thing, perhaps with a different theme each time.
Well, different.
Keep the Secret Santa sort of vibe, because I think that's what drove it.
And let's think, since Hangover, we've got Ogres have landed, and we should be seeing a couple more teams next year. So that pool should be bigger, and either we'll fill it up with players again, like you managed this time, or actually a couple of teams won't be in there, and it will have a different meta.
Yeah, that could be good.
Which is really cool.
Might not even be mixed. Could be even something else.
Well, that's just disgraceful, but yeah.
It'll probably be mixed.
So everybody out there listening, hopefully you're having a wonderful Christmas day so far. Let us know your thoughts on this, and let us know your thoughts on just mini challenges within a club, because we said, here's your 2 sprues, here's a month, we're going to play a few games, there's the best team, there's the games, and Ben's done a great job organising it. So let us know your thoughts on that, because I'm very excited.
Yeah, me too.
Right, let's have a look at our next topic. So it's turning out to be a bit of a giant-themed episode, and we're now going to talk about our Designer Giant competition. So this was announced back a little bit before our last episode. It was when I did the Ogre video review, when I finally confirmed that we did in fact have a pitch ready to give away. Basically, we had a giant competition about designing a giant. The new rules in Spike 8 are, which we talked about last episode, are an insane amount of fun. I love that they're exploring the design space with bigger models, and they've set a pretty good template for ordinary giants, but it's just one type of giant. So I wanted to see what ideas people had for giants for use on other teams, or with other miniatures, or just with something else going on in that giant genre, really. And so popped out a little competition, said, hey, design us a giant, and if you're the top winner, if you're the one we really like the best, or it has been very, very close, you will win an ogre pitch, which we've got here. So the design restrictions were: the new rules for slave giants are out now, but it's just the same giant for everyone. We want to see your ideas for giant players using the new sports giant rules. Dates open until Thursday the 19th of December at 8 p.m, which is a couple of hours gone now, and the winner announced on Christmas Day, episode 32, which you're listening to right now. The challenge: let us know the stats, skills and cost, and if you fancy it, the background and model and purpose too. We'll pick our favourite entries, talk through them, and determine the winner on episode 32. Yes, multiple entries are very much allowed. So Those were the very brief restrictions, and we have had a fantastic amount of responses. Let's have a look. There's
Yeah, quite a lot.
65. Yeah, 65 individual ones I've logged on here, but one of those at least has about 13 as part of the entry. So on the way to about 80 individual giant designs here, which was phenomenal.
Yeah, it took a while to get through them all, but we had a look.
It did. And I've got to say, everybody out there, thank you so much. So much effort has gone into this. There's some absolutely fantastic ideas, and I'm absolutely gutted. We're not even going to talk about, I reckon, half of the ones I want to talk about. And there's just so much great ideas. And a couple of you did a superb job of absolutely hooning in the ideas. So Rich, you know Rich from the podcast. I think he was on his way to 10 different suggestions.
Yeah, he was on fire. I think slow day at work for Rich.
I reckon so. Actually, you know what? As soon as that was announced, he was straight on it. But then again, we talked about this before, and he loves some of the models that are out there for Age of Sigmar. So it did not surprise me that it took him about 5 seconds to absolutely ring off these great ideas. And another one, Sean, who runs Mana Bowl and Birmingham Brawl, did a superb job of coming up with a bunch of different entries, and also he did a wonderful job of using alliteration, which is something I've discovered about myself in the last year by running 7 Super Series. I like alliteration.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know. Surprise. Yeah. So Sean, I think it was about half a dozen there, and like Manacled Manticore and things like that. Really good job. Some really, really good ideas in there as well. So, Ben, before we move on to some of our top picks, I've got a couple of honourable mentions. Have you got a couple of honourable mentions?
Yeah, I do. I wanted to give one. I think the first one I'll mention is, I think it was Nick 45.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Nick did a really, really awesome job where he really took this competition a different way, where he created a whole backstory of his own sporting giant for a Skaven team. So he had the idea of the Rat King giants, born of mischief, and he's written a lot. I'm not going to read it all out. It's a long paragraph, but I do recommend that Nick perhaps post it on the Facebook page or something for other people to read, because it's really good. Like, give it its own post. I think it deserves it. It's all about like it. He's got dates. He's got characters in this story about how these giants appeared, and it was just a really awesome thing to read. And it's nice to get people creating and engaging in the lore.
So the Rat King giants, his idea was, am I right? His idea was a bunch of Skaven basically get stuck together and form this big, massive, horrible mix of Skaven bits and pieces.
Yeah, I think that was the idea. Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. That's
so cool. In order of appearance, these were Gormash the Chatterer, estimated between 12 and 32 Skaven. I Am Throt, estimated between 15 to 20 Skaven. And Babel Grimstabber, estimated between 10 to 18 Skaven. That is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, he did a really stellar job.
He did. You know what? Oh, I really want to take all my spare players and build one of them.
I think it would look phenomenal. You just get a box of clan rats, cover them with EVA, give them a shake.
Yeah, I do. I've got 40 clan rats actually kicking around somewhere.
There you go. Stick it in the tumble dryer.
Chuck it in the tumble dryer. Microwave for 15 to 20 seconds. Yeah. No, that's absolutely fantastic. Great effort. Oh yeah, really, really, really cool. So I've got a couple of little honourable mentions. First of all, my fiance, bless her heart, Tiff, made a great little submission. Bless her. Her exact words were, "I have no idea what a Blood Bowl giant is," but her suggestion was Baby Yoda giant, and for skills, she's literally just put chicken tendies.
I'm on board for that skill.
I'm not gonna lie, when you randomly messaged saying, what was it, LMAO Tiff's entry, I did send her a screenshot of that. She was like, "Oh, it's made my day." So yes, Tiff, thank you so much for entering. She was like, "Well, I hope if I win, you can have the prize." The really funny thing is that she doesn't know I actually bought 2 ogre pictures, and so yeah.
Already got the prize.
Yeah, I might just say she came in second, give her that pitch, and hope she's very kindly giving it back. Yeah, so that was one of my honourable mentions.
So I've also chosen. Sorry, where was it on the list?
No, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, Nick Hansen. He deserves an honourable mention.
This was cool. Yeah, he had was it just the one good design or a couple of good designs?
No, he had a couple. Yeah. But the one I chose was Gorilla Rex. So he costs 390k.
Yep.
Move 6, strength 6, edge 1, AV 10. So he's, I think, not quite as strong as a giant, but
no. So he's dropped his strength for the regular giant.
Yeah, but he's movement 6, which is is the giant movement 6?
Yeah, I think the giant's movement 6 anyway. Yeah.
But he's got extra arms, which is interesting. Grab, guard, loner, mighty blow, multiple block, stand firm, and sporting giant. He's also done teams playing for Amazons and Simeon. I like the little secret team coming in there.
Oh, yeah, I mean, depending on how you feel about Simeons,
yeah,
it's a very cool one.
Yeah. So he's given a bit of he's actually got some design thoughts. So we can read this out and elaborate. So it's a support piece. He's there to make the rest of the team stronger. Guard is a very powerful skill. It is, especially on 2x2. So he's reduced its strength to 6 to balance it. Still strong to use multiple block against average strength teams. Grab is thematic and works with a team, which it does. I'm a big fan of Grab. It's did well in a tournament. Extra arms doesn't really do anything, but you reduced it to edge 1 to make sure it didn't. It's just there for flavour. You never know. You get an interception on a 5+, can you? Does it work like that?
I think that's still a 6.
Still a 6, okay.
Still a 6.
Yeah, but he's done a great job.
I do really like the design thought. So he's put there extra arms. All the players on the Simeon team have extra arms. It allows me to justify the skill combination of grab, guard, multiple block, and stand firm in his own mind.
Yeah.
And I just, so straight off the bat, I love that this one has guard. And he's put there, actually, guard for something that has a bigger base area is really interesting.
Yeah, it is. And it's something which is, it's quite good that it's an inducement and not a player, because we'd see that often.
Absolutely. I'm not sure if multiple block and grab work together, but I can't remember. I don't think they don't.
Do they? I can't remember.
No, I think it's probably fine, but that's quite cool as well. And it makes sense. He's got the multiple arms. He's blocking a guy, pushing him aside, blocking a guy, pushing him aside. He's got that presence and the arms there that he's stuck onto something. He's not going to get moved back, but also he's got that support, which makes all the other players around him stronger. So that was a very solid entry. Really like that one from Nick.
And I just appreciated the design thoughts behind it as well. It's good.
No, absolutely. I've got a couple of other little ones to talk about. One of them's mine, and one of them's kind of linked. So Steve Mayer, who actually we gave a little Christmas shout out to at the beginning of the episode, designed this one, which is one of my favourites, but not quite in my top few. So Goblin Tank, 450,000. First of all, I love tanks. Absolutely love the Tank Museum. Love tanks. Love it. Great. Love goblins. So this is awesome. 4, 7, 1, 10. So 2 points movement slower than a regular giant. Loner, break tackle, strong arm, throw teammate. Amazing. Thick skull, secret weapon, mighty blow, bombardier, no hands, stand firm, and nerves of steel.
Is that all?
No. So this is really cool. So tired of feeling squishy, one smart goblin decided to take a lesson from the dwarves and put a goblin twist on it. Designed to do 2 things: fire goblins and make tracks. This thing does its job until a ref can get a handle on it. So it is more expensive than a giant, but has the bombardier skill. It has strong arm, which I'm not sure actually helps with bombardier, but still, it will help with throw teammate, and has got nerves of steel as well. So this thing drives around and will just either throw a goblin or throw a bomb, and then gets sent off because it's a secret weapon. So
it's such a funny idea.
It's such a cool idea. I really love it. And Ben, can you think of any models where you could use for a goblin tank?
Goblin tank. The grot tanks could work.
Oh, definitely grot tanks.
They're quite little though. Maybe the mega tank, but that's a bit big.
Oh, is that the big one you've got?
The big ship-looking thing.
Oh, that's a shame. So we kind of need it. Would the goblin tank fit with the grot
I think
tanks?
a grot tank would actually be good. I think they might be on 50 mil bases actually. So.
Well, there you go. The Giant, we're looking at 60 to 70 mil base. So, could be quite cool. I love that one from Steve. And it kind of ties into now. Ben, you've made an entry, and we are going to talk about that. There's no escaping.
I don't think we should then.
So I'm not sure if this was before Ben realised he was going to be on the show for this episode or not, but Ben did try and push the boundaries as much as possible and chucked up a suggestion there for a Lehman Russ Executioner battle tank as an option.
Yeah, so I think the design behind this was that, I think you said yourself Blood Bowl was missing tanks, and I think it could work. It's I think it's fair, it's balanced. I think it was armor 17 or something like that.
It was armor 16, 750k, strength 10. And it's got a secret weapon which I approve of, and of course everyone's favorite skill, the Executioner pattern Plasma Destroyer.
I think it's I think there's a few pages of rules for that one, but it's quite balanced actually.
So disappointingly, because you're on the show, you're not eligible to win, but otherwise that would have been a really good one up there. I had hopes. I love it. So the one I put together, and this is when I was thinking about the rules and what we could do with them, is the Killdozer. So this is mentioned in some fluff from back in 2nd edition. I don't know, did I put it on there? I did. So arch rivals of the Dwarf Giants, the Warhammerers, are most interesting to us because of their perpetual insistence in breaking the rules in the most obvious and flamboyant ways. Their use of explosives and high caliber breech loading cannons as part of their passing play is just 1 point. These guys are playing dangerous. What's worse, they don't know when to stop, which is when accidents always seem to happen. Here we go. In the Blood Bowl final, only 2 years ago, the Warhammers were 2-0 up against the Champions of Death when the legendary trio of blitzers... No, that's about them blowing stuff up. Here we go. Just last year, the team was suspended from 3 games for illegal use of a bulldozer. And there's a great little bit of art there. And basically, my idea for this was the Killdozer. So movement 2, strength 9, edge 1, armor 10. Bonehead, not even dwarf war machines always work. Juggernaut, it's still a Killdozer. Mighty Blow, put in the kill and Killdozer. Dirty Player, it's going to run stuff over. Sporting Giant, movement 2, but it's got sprint. So I've chucked sprint on there. So it's movement 2, but you can take up to 3 go for it. This thing probably should have break tackle. But the key for me is I thought, what would happen if you put ball and chain on a giant?
Yeah, it's an interesting thought.
Because, you've got that random movement. So I can see this dwarf bulldozer just chugging along in a semi-random direction, just destroying things as it goes along. And that 3 go for it's from sprint. How bloodthirsty are you? Do you redline it and risk it exploding? I just thought the ball and chain on a giant model, it could be real interesting.
Yeah, how would you move it with the throwing template?
Oh, it just chooses the direction, doesn't it? Either you go diagonally left, straight up forward, or not. But because
I know they had the D8 scatter, didn't they? Or like the no, it was it 16 D16 scatter thing?
If they drops the ball. But but basically what it means is you're moving forward in a random direction and you're making blocks on both players that you're moving into, which is quite cool.
Yeah, could do some damage to your own guys with that.
And there was one other person that did pick up on that, which was Thor, who designed a big boulder, 6'7", 110, ball and chain loner, mighty blow, thick skull, sporting giant, stand firm, plays for any team that likes boulders. Which I thought was really quite cool. Right, that's all my honourable mentions, although there were, nearly 100 ones worth mentioning, which is very cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, shall we go on to some of our very top picks, Ben?
Yes, the finalists. So, I think the first mention from me will be the Whomping Willow.
Oh, I love
from Andreas Sprickman. So, I really like this idea. It's a unique take on the giant. It doesn't move. It's got movement 0.
Okay.
Strength 6, edge 3, and armor 14. And we'll get into that. It costs 400k, so mostly to bribe the stadium owner to plant one.
I like it.
Yeah. So it comes with loner, tentacles. Yes, there we go. Tentacles, prehensile tail, guard, multiple block, tackle, diving catch, jump up, throw teammate, always rooted, as in can never not be take rooted, iron bark, and sporting giant. So iron bark ignores claws. Because
Okay, I like
armor
that.
14, yeah, claws could just get through that.
Basically, it's a massive permanent tree.
Yeah, he said nobody will knock out a tree that size, because who would punch a tree?
A giant.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
A killdozer.
killdozer would. Yeah, that's very true. And yeah, always rooted. So he set up before the kicking team or the first drive is set up. The player can't be moved by any means and will not leave the pitch or its starting location for the whole game. He can still be knocked down and then loses its tackle zone.
But it's got to jump up.
It does have jump up, so it can just come straight back up. So I love the design.
Very clever bit of design there.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the Whomping Willow from Harry Potter.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. But it is.
Tentacles, prehensile tail.
Yeah.
So that's just absolutely wrecking everybody's day. It grabs hold of them. They can't do anything.
They can't get out, yeah.
No, tackle, again, can't get away. Guard, making it hard. Basically it's distracting the enemy players that are in base contact with this tree. Love that. Iron bark makes a lot of sense. Always rooted. Right, I'd love to talk about that real quick. Always rooted. So the player has to be set up before the kicking team with the first drive. So basically he's the first model. He gets deployed regardless of who's kicking, who's receiving, and it stays on there. It stays in that exact location for the entire game.
Yeah. Now, we were discussing recently about Blood Bowl terrain.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so, Andreas has put together a couple of very clever rules for just factional terrain on the Blood Bowl pitch.
Yeah.
Which I cannot tell you, that excites me even more than Blood Bowl tanks. Although Blood Bowl tank terrain.
Well, that's on
Andreas,
episode, I think.
We just talk. Yeah, absolutely. No, Ben, that is such a great pick because that is such a cool player type.
Yeah, and thanks, Andreas, for sharing that. It's a really unique take on the challenge.
So I take it you plonk him right in the middle on the line.
Probably.
And, just horrible.
Or you could put him near a sideline, even just one square out, and then just cage up on the other side.
That's exactly it. You're basically just removing the entire sideline on that side of the pitch.
Yeah.
Oh, that is very impressive. I really like that one.
Yeah.
Really like that one. So, eeny, meeny, miny, I've got two here to mention. And I think we're going to go for this one. So, Chris Coles popped this one over to us. Quarter Pounder and Wood Chopper. So, I will go through the story first. Runts get into everything and cause lots of mischief. Once during an exhibition game, the Ogre team, the Granite Bay All-Stars, were playing in a particularly remote location against the Wood Elf team, Tree and Easy. It was not going well for the Ogres. The War Dancers were practically ogre-sized themselves. During a particularly disastrous first half, all of the Ogres for the All-Stars were injured and only the Runts were left on the team. Scrambling around and looking for ways not to get repeatedly beaten up on the pitch, they searched the surrounding woodland. Stumbling across the local lumber mill, they discovered the Wood Chopper 5000. One particularly brave runt called Quarter Pounder, which is an amazing name for a snotling, pressed the big red start button and the beast roared to life. Mechanical legs stomping the ground and the mighty chainsaws cutting the air with a whoop of exhilaration, he piloted it back onto the Blood Bowl pitch. Needless to say, the referees immediately fled the pitch to get reinforcements and the Wood Elves shrunk back in horror. Before the final whistle blew, as the ref came out from behind the stands, Tree and Easy were decimated in a spectacularly bloody encounter, and Quarter Pounder and Wood Chipper become legend.
That backstory, fantastic.
Yes, so good. So he's put the model. A model for this could be a killer can with 2 combat weapons, or I imagine an Alien 2 servo loader type of style of machine, which I think is absolutely cool. So let's have a look at the rules for this one now. We're getting a lot of goblin machines in this, which I think is very, very, very cool bit of design.
Yeah.
Right, so Quarter Pounder and Wood Chopper, 6, 7, 2, 10, which I think is the same stats as a giant. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it is. Giants 2, Edge 2.
Maybe there might be armor 9, but yeah, this guy is skills, no hands, due to chainsaw hands. Chainsaw, because giant chainsaw hands. Multiple block, 2 chainsaw hands.
Yeah.
I love it.
Drilling the point home.
I'm loving this, Chris. Right. Loner, obviously. Sporting giant, standard rules. Stand firm. You try pushing a few tons of scrap metal around. Bonehead, piloted by runts. Yeah, no, tick, Chris. Foul appearance. I'd be scared of a huge mechanical thing trying to saw my legs off. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Secret weapon. The ref would never allow such a mechanical monster to stay on for long. Mechanical nightmare. Due to the confusing controls inside and the fact it's being piloted by a runt, successful Bonehead rolls must be re-rolled. which is cool.
That is a unique rule.
It's not a bad. That's actually quite a clever little rule. You're not adding rules. You're just kind of making the Bonehead roll a little tougher. No, love it. That was the design for that. So first of all, I love the Killer Cam model from 40k. The idea of running one on a Blood Bowl pitch, especially on an ogre team. Oh no, I know what I'm buying for Christmas now. God, so much modelling out of this. So I love this design. I thought absolutely brilliant. I didn't put a cost on it, so I'm assuming it's 400. But secret weapon obviously makes it very, very tricky. But yeah, Chris, superb design work there. Love that one.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
Okay, do you want to hit your second one, Ben?
Yep. So my personal second place, is the Abbey Rose Ward with Nurgle's Slug. Yeah, this one was great. I really like the little tagline of when they said huge growth foot, I wasn't expecting a lesson in Lime ecology, by Jim. Yeah, so it was a classic Blood Bowl 2 little tagline.
Before we move on, Abby did actually, I think she won our halfling pitch competition. Yeah. And you know what, Abby, you get extra points for using a Jim quote already.
Yeah, of course. So this is 500,000, so quite expensive.
Yeah.
Pretty damn expensive. 3, 6, 1, 10 for stats.
So slower, but a bit tougher.
Yep. Loner, really stupid. Again, tentacles. Disturbing presence, foul appearance, no hands, mighty blow, Nurgle's rot. So it's essentially a beast of Nurgle.
It is a massive beast of Nurgle. So
yes. However, it's got an extra skill called Slime Trail. And this is where I really enjoyed this. So Slime Trail is mark each square over which the Nurgle slug moves with the provided green slime tiles, so even getting a bit of, box design in there. Pretend they came with a mini.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Until the start of your next turn, all players, including your own, must make a dodge roll at their base agility to pass through a space with a green tile. If the player passes the dodge roll, they continue moving as normal. If they fail, they fall in the square they were trying to pass through. Remove that tile and roll armor and injury as normal. At the start of your next turn, remove all the tiles. And then when it moves again, you replace them. So I did really enjoy that idea of you sort of creating tackle zones as you move, temporary tackle zones.
And you know really what? So it's only movement 3, so it's not going to make a huge amount of tokens unless you are absolutely going for it like a beast of Nurgle. But yeah, you're right. That is such a beautiful little design. That's such a great idea.
It's just there to be a nuisance.
Absolutely. There to be a nuisance. I mean, Beast of Nurgle are great. They're not the best big guy by a long shot, but actually when you put them on the line, that strength and everything like that. And this one now is running strength 6 with has it got multiple block? It doesn't have multiple block.
No, that's true. But maybe it should.
I think it probably should, just
especially at 500.
Well, that's exactly it. I love that they got a little bit of fluff on there as well.
Yeah, so they start off as tiny mundane menaces that wreck the cabbage farms of many a Bretonian peasant. If a slug is particularly adept at terrorizing the average mortal, eats a prized vegetable, leaves slime in a work boot, lays eggs in your signal crystal so Cabal Vision doesn't come through right, then Papa Nurgle may choose to bless them with his rotten vegetables from his own garden. After feasting on these vegetables and bountiful compost Nurgle has offered, the slug will grow to colossal proportions, ripe and ready to bulldoze both greenhouses and unfortunate Blood Bowl players. I always love a bit of fluff.
That's really good. That's great. And the picture is quite fun too.
Yeah. Where's that picture from?
I can't remember, but it looks like a D&D kind of picture.
It does.
So all of these, I think almost all of these were just in one of the Facebook threads. So if you wanted to have a look, follow our page and find the giant competition one, and you can read all of them and have a look at some of the pictures that the guys have chucked in there as well. Yeah,
absolutely. One thing I will probably amend on this character if it was to become a thing, on this player, would be Nurgle's Rot. It says it affects your own team. I'd say unless you're Nurgle, because I think Nurgle should be able to move through Nurgle's Rot quite happily.
Nurgle's Rot? What? What? Huh?
So the slime trail. It says you need to make a dodge. Even your own players need to make a dodge roll through it. I think Nurgle could ignore that
because they just traipse through it.
They'll swim through that.
I like that. I like the idea of introducing little slime tokens on there. I think that's quite fun.
Yeah, perfect.
Okie dokie. So my second top call is actually by Ian Warhannam Hannam, and I think it's great design, but he's also tugged at my heartstrings here. No, it's not another tank, but it is the Giants of Albion. Now, I think I've talked about this a couple of times in the podcast. The Albion campaign for Warhammer was just one of my favourite settings. It's just on a horrible, horrible island. You've got Ben Beasts, you've got giants, you've got mist, you've got British weather. It's just a great setting. And there were a couple of ogres that came from Albion that were dogs of war back in the day. So there were regiments of renown. You could hire them as mercenaries for your Warhammer armies in Warhammer. And there was this one set that was 2 giants and a druid. And the giants were called... I can't remember what they were called, but he's based this character design, these characters, on this. So the Brothers Dim, Giants of Albion, 650k, and that's 650k for 2 giants. So he's pushed it a bit. So we've got 2 different ones that come as a team. So Golgo, the first one, 6629, so a bit weaker, which is because there's 2 of them. This one is Always Hungry, Bonehead, Juggernaut, Loner, Mighty Blow, Multiple Block, Sporting Giant, Throw Teammate, and Stuff in My... ... Okay, so
use your imagination for that one.
Yeah, so this one stuffs things away. So Stuff in My as a special skill. With his mind ever on his next meal, Golgo knows how to both have his player and eat it. Instead of tenderizing his unfortunate victim there and then, Golgo may instead try to stash them in an unmentionable place for later. When a player with the skill performs a block action, they may declare they will try and stuff their target somewhere unpleasant. The target of this block is treated as having +2 strength in the same way as being blocked by multiple block. If the block results in the target player being knocked down, but not as part of a both down result, instead of making an armor roll, the target of the block must pass an unmodified agility test or end up in a bag or worse. If this roll has failed, the player is immediately placed in the reserves box as they spend the remainder of the drive fighting their way free. If the test is passed, the player remains on the pitch in the knockdown position. No injury roll is made. This skill may only be used against a player with strength 3 or less. The skill may not be used in conjunction with multiple block. So one of your giants likes to stash players away. So it's an interesting one because you can do multiple block, do it normal, just try and murderize people, or you can just pick on one guy and hopefully you can just basically remove him for the rest of the drive immediately.
Yeah, it did make me laugh. It's just a really great idea. I think he's taken inspiration from the Ale Guzzler Gargant as well. Or,
absolutely.
The head does something similar in Warhammer.
Yeah, and in the Warhammer days, the giants, this is what they worked for as well. But because there's a second one, there's Bolgo, who is 6629 again. Always Hungry, Bonehead, Juggernaut, Loner, Mighty Blow, Multiple Block, Sporting Giant, Throw Teammate, and Hurl Boulder. And this bit I really liked. So Hurl Boulder. The pitches of Albion are littered with jagged rocks and standing stones, which Albion is. The giants of the Isles have perfected the art of hurling large chunks of earth and boulders at their opposition, and often their own players. Bolgo may attempt to rip up part of the pitch or surrounding stands, including spectators, and hurl them in the same manner as a bombardier throwing a bomb, with the following exceptions. A hurled boulder may never be caught or intercepted, and a modifier of +1 is applied to all armor rolls made against knockdown players if the boulder landed in that player's square, including as a result of a fumble. So basically, it becomes a bombardier throwing bits of the pitch that have Mighty Blow.
It's pretty mental.
It is really cool. I absolutely love that idea. And on the throwing rocks thing, that was actually one of Rich's really good ideas as well.
Using the Cygor or something.
Yeah, the Cygor, who is modelled with this massive rock. He had a very similar rule for that, which was it's like a fireball, except it has a massive area of effect. So Ian, that's fantastic. 2 of my favourite characters from actual Warhammer, and just the idea of actually taking for one inducement 2 giants that work together, and they work slightly differently. You've got basically a bombardier giant and a giant with a hoarding problem. I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant. Absolutely think it's brilliant. So that covers some of our top choices. But are you in agreement with me on this one, Ben?
Yeah, I am. I don't think I couldn't be.
So while we had some fantastic entries with some absolutely awesome design ideas and loads of effort put in by a lot of people, we do have a winner. And we were prepared to do a roll-off, but actually we talked it through and it's close. But the winner of our competition, and therefore of our ogre pitch, is going to be Robert Williams-Day, who's actually a friend of the podcast, Rob, over in Wales. He runs North Wales Carnage Cup and the Secret Carnage Cup as well. And basically what Rob has done is he's put together 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 different giants together in his own Spike magazine, basically, called Sporting Giants, When Giants Stride the Gridiron, Smash and Grab. And basically, from what Rob started to do is, off the back of this competition, is make a Giants rules supplement for Blood Bowl.
It's so good. I just was stunned when you showed me this.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how quick. I think Rob makes Spike magazines quicker than Windsor Chog makes Giants.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Exactly. So what we've got here, and Rob, even as part of his entry, was like, hey, I put this together. I'm going to release it as soon as I'm happy with it as well, because it's such a great thing. With the release of Spike Journal 8 Ogres, my mind naturally turned to fitting giants into the tournaments I run. I quickly decided the North Wales Carnage Cup and Gauntlet Throwdown were not the place, but Secret Carnage might be. Secret Carnage is a celebration of all things creative, and these giant rules seem to fit that. A giant is a giant canvas for creativity. To get the most out of such a stupid plan, there should be as wide range of giants as possible, including other creatures like arachnoric spiders or all sorts. So basically, he's put a load of great ideas together. My thoughts, I was putting together when I saw the Bonehead Podcast were running a giant design competition. So what you're seeing here is a combination of what he wanted to do and basically trying to win the competition, and he's done a super job. So part of this, and I know he's going to share this with people because he said he will, is in there. If you've got ideas, email them over to him, as I think he's probably going to go through our competition and talk to some people to see if he can rob their ideas. But he's got rules for a slave giant, bone giant, a troll king, a giant spider, chaos giant, squig, the giant squig, the Glockkin, Vermin Lord, Hellpit Abomination, Cockatrice, Tree Lord, Hydra Griffin, the Triceratops thing from Lizards, and a steam tank. So he did manage to get a tank in there as well.
You've got to have the tank.
He's got a couple of great special rules here as well. So there's Thunder Stomp, which basically, basically the whole, the model itself kind of becomes a fireball, flying leap, and he's got model suggestions for all of these. So the Troll King, the Dankhold Trog Boss, you've got the Steam Tank, the Cockatrice model. He's got
I like the
stadium
Cockatrice.
rules.
I've got my eye on that one.
Okay, let's have a quick look at the Cockatrice then. So the Greater Cockatrice, 500k, movement 5, so a little bit slower, strength 8, so a little bit tougher, agility 3. So Bonehead, Juggernaut, Loner, no hands, Mighty Blow, multiple block, regeneration, sporting giant, and we've got Hypnotic Gaze, which makes sense for a Cockatrice, all-round threat, flying leap, and thunderstomp. So flying leap, I think, is very simple. This I loved as well. It said that Wizards have experimented with a flying version of Blood Bowl with 7 players, 4 balls, and some weird hoops. This overly complex game will never take off. The NAF has decreed that flying is strictly prohibited. Flying creatures commonly have their flight feathers clipped, but they can still leap great distances. All creatures with this skill may be removed from the board and replaced. No square of its base may be more than 4 squares further away than its original start position. On landing, it's got to make an agility test, +3 edge, -1 for tackle zone. If it's failed, it lands prone, make an armor roll, and it uses 2 points. So basically, it uses 2 points of movement and may be used as part of a blitz. So basically, it has a super leap, which it can go up to 4 squares instead of 2, but it only uses 2 points of movement, and you can still blitz. So basically, this massive cockatrice flaps around, jumping around, which is such a cool idea. And it's also got Thunder Stomp, which is when it lands, players around it get knocked over on a 5+, is it? No, I've just made that up. For each player in the 12 squares surrounding a giant, roll a dice. On a 2-up, they're placed prone, no armor rolls made. Then roll 2 dice for the giant, and on a double, the giant themselves fall. On a double 6, the whole stadium is rocked to its foundations. The crowded stand crumbles as shockwaves crash over the pitch. Roll for each player on the pitch, and on a 5+, they're placed prone, and then re-roll fame to work out how many fans survived.
Yeah, I enjoy that. It's just so much like Giants would be doing this, wouldn't they? They'd be
wrecking everything.
The ground. Yeah, it's
absolutely brilliant.
Basically like a pitch invasion, isn't it?
Kind of, yeah. So it's got background on the cockatrice, suggested miniature. The Games Workshop do the cockatrice. I'm not sure if it's the build. TT Combat has one as part of a Kickstarter. There's some other models out there as well. So giant cockatrice. So he's even got inducements and stadiums in there. There's a giant wrangler, 0-1, 100k. Once per drive, a giant wrangler lets you re-roll a failed bonehead, really stupid wild animal, bloodlust, take root, or always hungry. In addition, giants recover from being KO'd on a 3+. And yeah, so absolutely incredible. He's even put together giant teams,
amazing,
which is new. So you've got giant pokers, you've got 0-4 giants, and a bull giant, which is an even bigger giant. So yeah,
he just went above and beyond.
Absolutely smashed it, and I'm really excited that he's going to be putting this together with some of the other ideas that have been bandied around. So we're looking for killdozers here, Rob, and release that as like a tournament, not expansion, but a tournament supplement, so that people can just go absolutely nuts with giants and have a great starting place for giant rules. So Rob, incredible job, well done, thank you very much. Let me know as soon as I can share those rules, and I will say this to everyone else who took part in this competition. Thank you so much for your great ideas, and let me know if I can share your rules as well, because there's just some phenomenally brilliant ideas there, and I cannot lie, I want to get a bunch of them onto our YouTube channel, to just try and expand what we can do with giants as well.
Absolutely.
Because I think I want to run 2 giants in a sevens game somehow.
We can make up some rules for that.
Oh, definitely. So happy with that one, Ben?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well done, Rob.
And well done, everybody else. That was absolutely incredible. Giant effort. Thank you very much.
Nice.
Right. I think we've actually got some more giant stuff to talk about in a minute. So we'll take a quick break and we'll start talking through the next topic. So this is the point where we would normally talk about the star player of the episode. And we are technically going to talk about a couple of star players, but giants. We're going to talk about who came closest. So we now got official Games Workshop rules for giants, but we've had giants in the Fumble secret leagues for a while. So we're going to have a quick look and see who came closest. So we've got Quasimano the Gentle Giant from the Stunty League. We've got Thundershout Gristle-Gnasher, also from the Stunty League. Now, we've spoken about that player before.
Yeah.
Or the Giants from the Giant team in the Fumble Secret League. So we're going to have a look at the 3 different types of giants that have already been out there for a few years. We're going to see who came closest, basically.
Yeah.
So let's start at the top. So we've got Quasimano the Gentle Giant, which is from the Stunty League, can be taken by the Albion Fae, the Gnome, Pygmy, or Skink teams. This chap is 280 for a movement 4, strength 6, edge 1, armor 9 giant. Okay, so got the armor right.
Yeah, I mean that's about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Loner, block, fan favorite, grab, thick skull, throw teammate.
Remind
So
me fan favorite, because that's one we don't see often.
basically, when he's on the pitch, if your team counts as having an extra +1 fame,
Okay.
essentially. So like for winning kickoff tables and things like that.
I think there's a goblin player who does that, isn't
Yeah, the hooligan
there? Yeah, that's it.
does that. So the gentle giant here, he's got the strength, but otherwise, as far as skills go, completely different set. None of the regular ones there. So let's have a look at Thunder Shout. So Thunder Shout, Gristle Gnasher, Chaos Halfling, Eshin, Noblar, Goblin Cheaters, Horrors of Tzeentch, Nurglings, Scryer Slaves, Snotling, Squig Herder teams.
Just reading out the names excites me for these
Oh man,
stunty and secret teams.
Oh, well, if you're interested in that, on the 22nd of February next year, the Marlborough Stunty Cup in Birmingham is all Stunty League teams. So I'm heading on up. In fact, we're sponsoring it. I've got Seven's pitch on to give away and a Blood Bowl Ogre team to give away as well, because I've been to the last couple and it's been such great fun. It's actually run by Sean, who popped in a load of entries to our competition as well.
Might have to try and come along to that.
Oh, great fun. It's 2 weeks after Beachhead, so I'm having a very Blood Bowl-y month. But Tiff's working both those days, so why not? Right, so Thunder Shout, Gristle Gnasher, we've spoken about before. 300k, movement 5, strength 6 again, edge 2, armor 9 again. So skills-wise, Loner, always hungry, Bonehead, mighty blow, multiple block, stand firm, thick skull, and throw teammate. So Bonehead, mighty blow, multiple block, stand firm, and throw teammate, and Loner. So that's what six skills that are bang on for the giant rules.
Yeah, I wonder if they looked at this guy when they coming up with him.
You know what? It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, what is it they say? Copying things is a nice thing to do. I'm sure there's a better way of saying that. What is it?
Let's go with that.
Yeah, copying is the highest form of flattery or something.
Yeah.
So,
Imitation, I think, is the.
Well, that's better. Yeah. I feel like I went full Bonehead then. Yeah. So looking at the proper giant or the new giant, we've got always hungry, Bonehead, Loner, multiple block, mighty blow, stand firm, throw teammate. So the only thing missing is Juggernaut. Full stop.
Yeah.
Juggernaut and the fact it takes up 4 squares.
Yes, which I do. Funnily enough, this exact character. I remember Ian at the Tombstone tournament brought him along, and he asked if you could put him on a 4 square base.
Yeah, this has definitely been something that's been brewing, and I want to say the community. It might literally just be me and a few people I know have been clamoring for, because it was in second, and it might just be terrible, but it's just a very exciting thought. So Thunder Shout is ahead of the curve right now. He's got the skills right, apart from being a little bit weaker. Not bad at all. So now we've got the giant team, which is from the Fumble Secret Leagues. So it's quite a cool team. You've got 0 to 16 Pixies, which are 7-1-3-6, stunty, right stuff, dodge, and titchy, which is just horrific. So these guys are 30k, movement 7, and they're dodging everywhere on a 2+ with a reroll. I'd just take a team of all Pixies. If I could might have to get Windsor Chog to sculpt up some digital Pixies. Or
there you go, Windsor.
Or Ben.
Those days are behind me, Ben. Those days are behind me.
No. Okay, so this team can run 0 to 4 giants. 140k. All right, so we're talking ogre money. 4619. All right, so same as gentle giant, really. Bonehead, yes. Thick skull, fair enough. Mighty blow, yes. Break tackle and throw teammate. So these are really just kind of big ogres.
Yeah, I when you showed them to me, I really did think they're just a different take on an ogre team, like a little bit scrambled, and I think I would rather play them because the Pixies do the job better than Noblars.
Oh, this Pixie team is quite interesting, and they have very similar Pixies on the Treeman team.
Which you've made, haven't you?
Yeah. For that reason, I had a choice between Giants and Treeman, and I had the Era 1 trees just sitting there in a shop somewhere else waiting to be bought by me. but just sitting there, and I thought we'll go for it. We'll go for it.
Yeah.
So yeah. So the
You do get
Giants.
two less.
Two what? Two less
Two less
Giants.
than an ogre team, yeah.
Yeah, you do. You do. The same money. It's a clever build, and that's the great thing about this, the Fumble Stunty at the Fumble Secret Leagues, is you do just get a different opportunity, a different build. It's like, I've said this before, for any of you out there who've ever played the Pokemon games, it's like when you go from the originals to Silver and Gold. It's the same, but it's different. Just a
There's
different
more.
take. Yeah, it's a different season of your favorite show. So who came closest is Thundershout. Thundershout Grisham Asher, with a bit more strength and a base 4 times the size. Basically, he's bang on a giant.
Yep. Yeah, and we're already seeing people use the models for him. So
Yeah, it's really cool. And the cool thing is that these guys are kind of lesser giants. So you know what? They still can fit around. You just have to consider them, either 2 classes of giants. They're either lesser giants or they're half giants or something. These guys are the Hagrid of the Blood Bowl pitch.
yeah, it's a good way of saying it.
But yeah, shouldn't have blocked that. I think
Yeah.
it was cool. And the cool thing about giants is they've been in Blood Bowl lore forever. There's giant teams. It's normally just there was this team, and then it played against some giants, and then their team was dead, basically. Now we're in a position now where actually you can start running some of that on your Blood Bowl games, and hopefully we can get a game in with the giants soon at our club, just to see how fun they are and whether it's just horrific.
I'll take a team which I don't mind losing a few players in,
That's it. May I recommend an ogre team, perhaps with no ogres?
Gotta pick one up.
Yeah, you do. They're great models. Yeah. I'd love to see you paint these, actually. I'd love to see you model them. And the great thing is, and I'm just harping on about these models again, and all of the Blood Bowl teams, because I'm not saying they're cheap, but they're not prohibitively expensive.
Games Workshop ones are really good value.
Yeah, you pick up a team, and then, I mean, I think I've done this now. You pick up a second team of the same thing, and then you can convert it. So my humans, I've got one human team, and I've got a second human team with a bunch of heads from Puppets War. In fact, they were in 7 Super series. You change up the models. You've got an ogre team here. You can just go chaos, make a chaos ogre team. Loads of spikes, loads of chaos bits on, some conversions, some tentacles. Oh man, you would be an absolute doddle to convert them. And I've got a load of back banner poles for when I was using them to convert some knights in Adeptus Titanicus. I'm thinking,
who doesn't have a box full of banners?
That's it. You could chuck them on these, on the ogres, and you've got, I don't know, just there's a lot to be done there. But anyway, I think that's probably enough from me today on massive big guys and players and things in Blood Bowl, because I'm just a bit too excited, I reckon.
Yeah, well, I mean, all the reason to be excited. This is it's good to see Blood Bowl branching out into, and like the Games Workshop supporting it in its branching out into new areas and including new rules and new models. It's nice to mix things up, and I know we'll always have the core tournament rules and the NAF and things like that, but if you want to just add a little bit of excitement to a league, it's really nice to try some of these things out.
It is. I'm really pleased to see them going a little bit outside of that circle that we've had for the past 20 years. And although we are in danger of losing some of the integral balance, actually, given that everyone hates wood elves and dwarves, I don't think it's a terrible thing to introduce different elements to Blood Bowl. You're not affecting the top tiers, you're just making the bottom tiers deeper. And there's more playground there. I think it's fantastic.
Exactly. Love it.
So before we wrap up, Ben, it's Christmas Day now when this episode's coming out. What are you likely to be up to at the moment?
I'll probably be painting either the Still Nurgle team or maybe my Khorne team for Beachhead. Probably the Khorne team by then.
Yeah, is that your kind of honorary Christmas present to yourself?
Yeah, that was a self-Christmas present. I'm very much looking forward to getting them on the table.
I'm sorry, was that Grebo or Pumpkin?
It was Grebo, yeah.
It was Grebo.
Yeah, they're really good models.
Oh man, that team is fantastic. And one of your first metal teams, I think, is that?
Yeah, because I started wargaming just sort of in the safe era without metal models everywhere. So I've painted a couple in the past, but it's my first time doing a whole thing of metal.
No, that's cool. I mean, tabletop Tyrant, you're going to need a decent case to carry them around, because I know you're worried about them chipping, but
Yeah.
That
They got about 6 layers of varnish on them. It's all good.
Fantastic. So this is going to come out in the morning of Christmas Day. I'm cooking Christmas dinner for the family this year, which I'm very excited about. I did it last year. The idea was that Tiff was going to be spending Christmas Day with my family, but she's now going to be spending it with her dad because her mum's working, which is lovely, so she'll come around later. So probably going to be chilling out, hopefully not still painting these ogres, but I mean, I probably should be painting the Sevens team, but I will undoubtedly be doing some kind of hobby, just chill out for a few hours before I figure out how not to kill everyone by cooking a turkey poorly.
That's fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. I just need to not forget the Yorkshires this year because, I don't know if Yorkshires is a particularly Christmassy thing, but they're just so good.
Hey, yeah, it's not a Christmas dinner is a type of roast dinner. It's not a roast dinner without Yorkshires. So that's the logic.
Yeah, gotta have those. Hoping because there was this news article about there not being enough people to produce pigs in blankets.
I did see that. Is that for Wetherspoons?
No, yeah, something like that. But I work in food retail and we are not short of pigs in blankets, so I think it's going to be okay. In fact, our chef's been making them and providing them in cooked breakfasts in the staff canteen. So, which, by the way, 10 out of 10 recommend.
Yeah, might have to pop by.
Just probably not a good health tip, but actually,
it's Christmas.
Pigs in blankets at breakfast time is a genius idea.
It's sausage and bacon, isn't it?
That's what exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's just ultimate breakfast food. Yeah, wonderful. Well, I think we should probably call it a wrap there. What do you reckon?
Probably best. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Ben, thank you so much for coming on and talking some Blood Bowl nonsense again.
No,
massively appreciate it.
Always a pleasure.
Oh man, it's been good. It's been good today to just talk utter nonsense. Great giant competition. Talking about mixed sevens is so much fun, and just talking about different players and giants in the Stunty League and Fumble League. That's what we want. It's Christmas Day. Just sit and play. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Cool. Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you so much for everything you've done for us and for all the great conversations we've had with you. Have a lovely day. Hopefully you got some nice toys to play with. And drop us a message at the Bonehead Podcast and let us know what you're up to on Christmas Day. Because I'm going to be sitting there painting, and hopefully you're going to be sitting there listening to this, doing some painting and some gluing as well. So yeah, drop us a line, let us know what you're up to, and we will see you in the new year.